Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel for another impressions video. It's going to be quick, but today we're looking at Prime1's Dark Origin Venom. It's a piece that was stuck in manufacturing hell for almost 2 years, but now that it's here and set up in front of me, I can honestly say this is a clear example of patience paying big dividends. Normally I would start off with a bit of unboxing and assembly, but to be honest, with the 2 giant boxes and a litany of pieces to assemble, I couldn't get any enjoyment out of putting this together while juggling a camera on the side. But if that's what you're looking for, there are a lot of great videos from great content creators that I personally enjoyed watching. Give them a shot and show them some love if you haven't already. So, first impressions. This thing is massive. You'll hear it being said, you'll see it in pictures and in videos, but you'll really need to see it in person to understand just how big this statue is. It's roughly 31 by 26 by 18. So yes, this is going to take up a lot of real estate, but it's Prime1. It should be expected at this point. They've built a reputation of having larger end statues on needlessly even larger bases. However, if I'm being honest, I really don't mind it on this statue because this time the base doesn't seem like a waste of space. They've utilized every inch to show how destructive Venom can be as a character, that giant pipe giving way effortlessly to Venom's push, and how it crumples under his grip emphasizes how powerful he is. He's a force of nature, and you can see that by the trail of symbiotes all over the place, infecting, consuming, and taking over the environment. It reminds me of scenes you see often in movies or TV shows where a toxic character walks through an area and engulfs or destroys everything. I know a lot of people despise the size of the base, but I think in this situation it's practical and it tells a story. Could they have told the same story on a smaller base? Yeah, probably, but you'd be losing a lot of context. I personally love it, and I have no issues with it. Another huge thing that stuck out to me was the texturing on the piece. It's really next level stuff. The smoothness of the symbiotes, the coarseness of the pebbles and rocks, and oh my god, look at this part here. Look at that neck. Ugh. It really grosses me out, but I love it because that texturing just adds that much more to the piece when you look at it or even feel it. It's all printed to perfection in amazing detail, and it's further magnified by the paintwork. And that paint app, the paint app on this is probably the best I have seen. It's the kind of paintwork I'd expect to see from a commissioned master artist, especially with the top-notch gradient work. And there is a lot of gradient work on this. It's hard to capture on camera since Venom looks primarily black. However, there are fades to blue that shine through all the black and then further intensify at points where the skin is tight and stretched. It's not just random, mindless gradients here. Realistic designs are not something I look for in a comic book statue, but it makes sense from an anatomical perspective. And it's all done to meticulous detail. It's mind-numbing, and it's hard for me to believe someone painted this. I'm not sure, but if someone knows, let me know in the comments if Prime1 has factory workers painfully painting these things by hand, or if they have some sort of technology that the rest of the industry needs to catch up with. Now let's talk about portraits. I got the exclusives, so I have all 3. The one most people are raving about is the exclusive Mcfarlane Portrait. If you're a fan, you can't go wrong, but the rumors are true, so be warned that it doesn't really help with the seams because the head seems to be a little bit smaller than the socket. And while the Mcfarlane Portrait is great, for me, I just love the standard maniacal portrait with the multiple rows of uneven teeth. The statue as a whole looks organic and alive, and for me, this portrait adds to that feeling since the chaotic nature of the teeth makes them seem like they have a life of their own. However, if either option is too extreme, there's this one, which walks a fine line between the two. It's not too even, and it's not too messy. Alright, so it's mostly been good impressions so far, but the statue is not without its faults. There are a couple of things I didn't like about it. One is, of course, the tendrils. Don't get me wrong, I love the tendrils. They create an illusion of movement and remind me that Venom is a result of a symbiotic relationship. What I disliked about the tendrils is that they make up most of the loose pieces on this statue, and some of them are designed in a way where they have to interact with different sections of the statue as well. So if you haven't guessed it already, I'm talking about fitting issues. I ran into 2 different tendrils, both of which have multiple points of insertion that had this issues. It's not a huge problem since it can be fixed with a heat gun or a blow dryer, but I really would like to see Prime1 simplifying their designs or using more malleable material to avoid these issues. I have their Spider-Man 2099 statue, and I had the same problem with his cape, alongside the rest of the collecting community that bought that statue. I mean, at this prices we're paying, we shouldn't have to put that extra work to make things fit. The other thing I didn't like about the statue is the tongue on the portraits. It looks too bright and too cartoony compared to the rest of the statue. I feared that was the case when I looked at the pictures online, and I was hoping it would be better in person. However, it isn't. The color intensity and glossiness is way too much. I can't say I know the reason, but I suspect that it's mainly because of the clear resin poured over it for that saliva effect. Now let's talk about those legs. I'm addressing this since the legs were the most criticized part of the statue from the day it was unveiled. I don't understand why people are saying the legs are too small. I've always known Venom to be a top-heavy character. Granted, it's not as emphasized in the other comic books as it is in the Dark Origins comic, but it's not as bad as most people are making it out to be either. Seeing this statue in person, it looks organic, it looks natural, and it's true to who or what Venom is. I've had some people look at the statue and not one of them talked about how anatomically incorrect he is. And that's because it doesn't stand out as much as some people would want you to believe. But then again, you know, we're looking at a biological alien organism that has engulfed a human being to carry out superhuman feats. So, final thoughts. Prime1 delivered a winner. This is the best Venom for me. I didn't really want a Venom before I saw this, but when I did back in 2017, it spoke to me. It hit all the things I would have ever wanted in a Venom statue, so I knew I had to get it, and it was definitely worth the wait. And personal artistic preference aside, it's hard to deny the quality, the complexity, the design, and the value of this statue. And taking business decisions I don't agree with out of the equation, Prime1 is talking the talk, and they're walking the walk where it matters most, and that's giving you exactly what you paid for. And I only wish to see them continue with more products of this quality, because to be honest, I've been very happy with the limited amount of statues I have from them so far, and I look forward to continue buying their products until they give me a reason not to. So that's it for me. These were my impressions. I hope you found them helpful in some way, and as usual, I appreciate you all. Thanks for watching.